What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are installing a Whiteline front sway bar. I believe this one is 26 millimeters with some Perrin Endlinks, polyurethane bushing Endlinks for the front of the car. I currently already have the Whiteline rear sway bar with Perrin spherical Endlinks in the rear. It's one of my first videos I did, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. You can see how the channel's progressed a lot. It's rather interesting. Anyway, so we're gonna get this guy installed. What this will end up doing is it'll help balance the weight in the front of the car a little bit more, with this being more stiff. Now, whenever you turn, it's got to the car has to transfer weight between the front wheels. Same with the rear wheels. So installing sway bars is a huge benefit to you in how your car is gonna handle. It's also gonna improve grip a little bit. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna go over what comes with this Whiteline sway bar, what comes with the Perrin Endlinks, and the tools you're gonna need, and then we're gonna start installing this bad boy. So as you saw, I already showed you guys the sway bar. It's relatively standard. It's just a giant steel bar. Now, it also comes with these nice greaseless bushings, which are actually kind of fancy. They're a little fuzzy on the inside, so you don't need grease, so you can just finger them all day if you want to. But the Endlinks, so we have two of the front Perrin Endlinks that come with 4 washers, which are these spacers, and then a plethora of these 7/16 washers, which you'll see why we need all of these soon, but it's to help get the Endlinks perpendicular to the ground. Now, it also comes with all the bolts you're gonna need, which are kind of nice. Where is like the... I'm guessing I used the factory hardware on these boys. So factory hardware is gonna end up going on those. Comes with this nice energy suspension grease to lube everything up. Some of the tools that you're gonna need to do this job, I recommend having a breaker bar. Some of those suspension components don't wanna come loose. And with the breaker bar, get yourself some PB blaster or some WD-40, something to help break those nuts loose when they don't wanna do it. With that, just grab like a standard ratchet. Small mallet, if you have one, isn't going to be a bad idea either. An impact will help you out greatly. I needed a 10 to take my bumper off. You don't need a 10 for the sway bar, but I do recommend doing it. You're going to need a 14, a 12, a 17, and then just the same in the spanners. You're also going to end up, well, I needed the M8 Allen key for the JDM steering components that I have down there to get that off. So with all this, we're just gonna jump straight into it. Now, I have the car on ramps right now. You're gonna want the wheels on the ground when you're doing this. You don't have to, but it is very beneficial, so you have load on the sway bar. If you're trying to do this, you jack up one side of the car at a time, you're gonna have a very difficult time getting that sway bar actually back into its home. So, I mean, I'd recommend keeping it on like ramps, or if you are using jack stands, jack up both front ends of the car, or both sides of the front end. It'll make your life a lot easier. So with this, we're gonna jump into pulling out the old sway bar. Once we get it out, we'll compare the old sway bar to the new sway bar, and then we'll get this nice new one installed. Kind of like I've said in all my old install videos, whenever I'm under the car, it's very difficult to film, but I'm gonna do my best to help you guys out. So right over there, you can see the Endlink right here. So the Endlink goes there, and then the sway bar runs in that bracket all the way across. It's a little dark over there, so I apologize. So we're gonna stick this side with the light. Now, as you can see, right by those like STI JDM components I have right there, you have this giant bracket that goes all the way along the bottom side of the car. We need to pull that off to be able to gain access to that sway bar. So it's just a series of 14 millimeter bolts that run around it. As you can see, I kind of loosened one there, and they just run all the way around that piece. So go ahead and pull all those 14 millimeter bolts out, and then there's 2 17 millimeter bolts on those trailing arms right there that connect up. Go ahead and pull those off as well, and then we're gonna be able to drop that piece. Once that piece is dropped, you can see right there, that little sway bar bracket. We gotta pull that guy off, and then we just gotta take the Endlinks out, and that guy should come completely out. So I'm gonna get this guy set up on a tripod. I'm gonna run down here, start pulling all this stuff out, get this sway bar out so that way we can compare them, and then start getting the new one in. That wasn't too bad. We got both the Endlinks out and the sway bar out relatively quick. That only took about 5-10 minutes to get this guy out after I had everything kind of broken loose. So now that we've got this guy out, we're gonna go ahead and pull this over to the bench. We're gonna compare this sway bar to the Whiteline sway bar, and then same with these Endlinks, just see what we're actually upgrading to. Just so you guys have a sense of what's going on here. So here's the new Whiteline sway bar. Here's the factory sway bar. So just out of curiosity, I have my calipers here. I was kind of curious what the factory sway bar size actually was compared to the new one. So the new sway bar is 26.3 millimeters. The old sway bar is 24.3 millimeters. So it's a pretty, you get a 3 millimeter increase with this, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it will actually make a pretty decent difference with these. Now you can also see the factory Endlinks here. They're kind of just, they're small. I've seen a lot of these crack and break in the past, so these ones, wow. So these ones should be a lot beefier and handle what what the sway bar will be throwing at it. And then with that, so I kind of wanted to touch on these greaseless bushings. So I don't know if you guys can really see in there, but there's like these little fuzzy particles in there. So you don't actually need any grease with these, and they're really easy to install. Just literally slide it over the sway bar just like that. So now that we've got, ew, and you can see on these old bushings, my car only has 25,000 miles on it, and these bushings are like crusty and gross. So as you guys can see here, we're ready to install this new sway bar. So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna get the sway bar mounted up first, then we're gonna do the end links. And with the end links, it's a little bit of a tricky process because you need these to be perpendicular to the ground. So we're gonna be using a variety of these 7/16 washers here to be able to achieve that. So I'm gonna get this camera moved back over. I'm gonna start getting the sway bar installed. Installing the sway bar is gonna be the same process. There's those two brackets that hold these up to the chassis. 2 bolts, they're both 12 millimeters, so I'm gonna get this installed back up there. Once this is installed, I'm going to go ahead and start running through the end links, and once we get to the end links, I'll bring the camera up so you guys can see how to get these perpendicular from the sway bar to the ground. Alright, so to show you guys the orientation of the sway bar, it took me a minute to figure it out. You're gonna want those parts, or the ends of it, to loop up, so that way it can line up with the control arm right there. So it's gonna go from control arm to sway bar, control arm right there to sway bar right there. So just make sure that it loops down and then up, so that way it clears the tie rods on both ends. So now that I've got the sway bar actually mounted up in here, I'm gonna grab those end links. I'm gonna get one of them installed, run through it with you guys of how you guys need to install it to keep it perpendicular, not parallel, to the ground, so that way it lines up good. But so far, it's looking good down here. So this is gonna take a little canoodling on your guys' part to figure this out based on what sway bar you have, but right up there on the end link. So as you can see, I have the Perrin spacer on the bottom. Then I had to do 3 washers on the passenger side, and then on the driver's side over here, it's a little more difficult to see, I apologize because it is dark, but I ended up doing 4 washers over there to get the end links to sit parallel. So they both sit parallel to the ground, or perpendicular to the ground now, apologies. So that took about half hour to get the combination right. I started grinding down some spacers over there to try to get those to fit, and it just didn't work. So with that, it was very annoying to do this, but if you guys are running the 26mm Whiteline front sway bar with these Perrin end links, it should be similar to this. 3 washers on the passenger side, 4 washers on the driver's side, but our boy is installed. We are good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that tray down there thrown back up on there. It's just those 14mm bolts, 2 17s. Get the bumper thrown back on, and we'll wrap this video up and talk about a couple things. Alright you guys, that is going to wrap up our install of the Whiteline front sway bar with the Perrin end link. So with that, like I said, make sure you're getting those end links perpendicular to the ground. You don't want the bushings to wear out early, you don't want anything to snap, and you don't want any unnecessary stress on the suspension if you don't have to have it. Now anyways, I was thinking, you guys have been awesome communicating down in the comments and whatnot, giving me ideas, and I just want to say thank you to everyone for who's been participating in the channel in the comment section. Any feedback that they're giving, keep it up, I really appreciate it. And just you guys are the best. Anyways, I appreciate all the time that you guys spend with me here on the channel. And as always, if you guys have any ideas, topics, discussions, installs you want, go ahead, drop them below and I will work on them. I will get them in the queue and we will get them processed, made, and created for you guys. So if you guys, if the content helped you guys today, smash, dance, stab, do whatever you gotta do to that like button. Just make sure you like it. And if you're not already, you can subscribe to the channel. We'll do that up here in this corner today. Ooh, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies.